Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Pitch Perfect podcast. Manchester United won, Manchester City won. Manchester City wins 7-6 on penalties. So, where do I start? I think it's fair to say that prior to the game, everyone has had Man City as favorites. So, this result is no surprise to anyone. Going into the game with the starting lineup being out, I think it's fair to say that there must have been a few questions being asked about the starting lineup. But it was no surprise to me considering all the circumstances we had at hand with the injuries, the lack of transfers, fatigue from the international tournaments. So I was not expecting to see a fully fit starting 11. But that being said, going into the game, you always have hope. You always have high expectations, hoping that something can happen. It was always going to be hard to see where the goals were going to come from based on the starting 11. But going into the game, the first half particularly, first half was really lackluster. Not much to offer, not much to really speak about. Yes, Man City hit the woodwork. It's fair to say they were the better team in the first half. Defensively, we were solid. I didn't feel phased at any moment. Yes, I know we didn't have enough of the ball. We didn't have as much of the ball, but not in one moment did I feel phased. Did I feel like, okay, we might go a goal or two down. So, in fairness to the defense, we were solid. Attacking wise, should have been a bit better. No creativity up front. Midfield held their own. But yeah, and as for the first half, we were really lackluster. Both teams were lackluster. It felt like a proper preseason game, like a nothing game. To be fair, this is a preseason game, just with a bit more incentive. There were a few positives to take from the first half. Amad Diallo, impressive as always. He's one of the players that I really hope he gets to kick on during the season. That he gets more of a chance during the season because last season he barely got a sniff. So he looked bright. Kobe Mainu looked fatigued, but looked bright as well. Casemiro looked bright. The back four, Maguire looked solid. No complaints at all. And as for the second half, I don't know what was said in the changing room, but we seemed to up the tempo a little bit. We looked a bit better. There was a bit more spark. There was a bit more intent with our play, with our attack. You know, we had the better chances in the second half. If you're to judge the game on the second half, it's fair to say that we should have won this. We should have won the game based on our performance in the second half. Yes, Man City still had more possession, as they always will, which is not a surprise, which I'm not expecting any different. But with the possession that we had, we were clinical with it. Bruno Fernandes, good chance, should have done better. What a pass from Casemiro to start with. Fernandes should have done better. I expected him to have an extra touch, to make an extra touch, but then again, with Akanji running behind, running close to him, tracking back, I'm not surprised that he hit it first time. Rashford, good pass from Garnacho, good piece of play in that instant, I should say. Rashford should be doing better. He should not be shitting it. A player of Rashford's quality should be getting something on it. Should be getting his foot on that. So for him to shin it, look, it happens. It happens. It happens. It's fair to say, I guess he's rusty, so no complaints. McTominay should be doing better as well with the chance he had. The header from Rashford on the corner should be doing better. Should be doing better. But then again, you go again, you just allow it. And as for Garnacho, was really impressed with him. He looked really bright as well. He looked energetic. He looked full of life. Very good goal by him as well. Cutting in from the right hand side, slotting it in with his left foot. Very, very good finish. Could he be the answer on the right hand side? We're just gonna have to wait and see. But I like that he's able to switch from both the right and the left side. So that means more competition for Ahmad and Anthony. So a very good goal from Garnacho. Um, and then you're thinking that we might win, we might nick the win because there's only 5 minutes to go from when Garnacho scores the goal. But then again, with a team like Manchester City, you can never count them out. You can never count them out. And we saw that Bernardo Silva header off the far post. Facundo Pellistri, he's not a right back. He's not even a makeshift right back. So it was always going to be difficult for him to get anywhere to tuck in and get anywhere near that ball. He first of all he doesn't have the height nor the physicality, and he's not a right back. So defensively, his defensive awareness is not the greatest. Pelestri himself had a very difficult game. But then again, I'm not gonna be too hard on him because, like I said, he's not a right back. So he had a very difficult game against Doku, and then against Savinho as well. But nonetheless, he held his own. So I'm not gonna be too hard on him. Martinez, I was really impressed, considering that he played the whole tournament in the Copa America, and to come back fully fit, to come back with full of energy. You could tell that we need a center back like him. We missed him, you know, during preseason. So really impressed with Martinez. Evans looked really steady. Casemiro really impressed. I know there's gonna be people out there gonna be slandering Casemiro, but I was really impressed with Casemiro. Very good, very good in the middle of the park. Collier in the second half held his own, very tidy on the ball. Rarely made any mistakes. Yes, there were a few times where he misplaced passes, but he's young. He's learning the game. So looking forward to Collier during the season as well. Looking forward to seeing more of him as well. Rashford really quiet, really faded out the game. Expected more from him, but I'm not going to be too hard on him because it's just the start of the season. Garnacho, like I said already, was really impressed with him. No complaints at all. Looked really bright, looked really sparky. McTominay, you know what you're gonna get with McTominay. You know, he was thrown in the nine, so I'm not expecting anything. He's not a nine. He was a makeshift nine, so I wasn't expecting anything spectacular from him. But he held his own. Bruno in the second half, he picked it up. He was very, very, very efficient with his passing. Very efficient with his passing. Like I said, he should have done better with the chance he got. But then again, no complaints in the second half with his performance. So overall, in the second half, we opted. In the first half, should have done better. But then again, we were solid both halves defensively. Attacking wise, we opted up a bit. I don't know what was said in the changing room, but we looked a whole lot better. We looked like a completely different team. It could be fatigue. There could be many different factors as to why we look better, but taking nothing away from the team. So I think it's fair to say that on the grand scheme of things, based on the second half, we should have went away with the victory. We should have went away as the winners of the game. But look, the game is not played in the second half only, so you have to take that into consideration. Going to penalties, you know, you never know with penalties. Penalties are 50-50. It's a gamble. It can go either way. So Sancho missed, Evans missed. It is what it is. No hard feelings. I'm not going to be too mad at the result because then again, this is just another preseason game to me, just with a bit more incentive. So no hard feelings. Impressed with the second half. Impressed with how we looked. Obviously, I'm hoping for us to be more brave on the ball, to have more possession on the ball as the season goes on, to be brave on the ball, to look better on the ball. Defensively we were solid, but on the ball we could have been a bit better. We could have held the ball a bit more than we did. But then again, with a team like a Manchester City, it's always hard. You know what you're gonna get with them. They're gonna have 60-70% of the ball, and you'll be forced to sit back for most of the game. But then again, yeah, I'm hoping for this season for us to be more brave, to be more patient, to be more neat on the ball than we were last season. Um, but nevertheless, no hard feelings. This is just like I said, this is just a preseason game with a bit more incentive to it. So I'm not gonna go hard on anyone. I'm not gonna be mad at anyone. I'm not gonna be overcritical on anyone. It's only the first game of the season. Players are still rusty. Players are still adjusting to the system, to the new season. But nonetheless, I was impressed with how we recovered from the poor first half. As for the player ratings, um, starting from the goalkeeper, Onana, 6 for Onana. He had a steady game. I don't think he done too much wrong. I don't think he had an. I don't think he had a nightmare. I don't think he had a stunning game as well. He was just all right. He didn't have too much to deal with, so he was all right. Dallo 6 as well, very steady. You know what you're gonna get with Dallo, no complaints. Evans 6, didn't do too much wrong, was steady. Maguire 6, looked steady as well. Hoping, that's what I'm hoping for. That's the least I'm hoping for from Maguire this season. So very steady. Martinez 7.5 actually. Really impressed with him. He looked very, very good considering he played the whole tournament in the Copa America. For him to come back fully fit, full of life, and have the performance that he did, yeah, you could tell he was oozing. You could tell that this is the best center back we have in the team. So 7.5 for Martinez. Mount 5. Mount, not gonna be too hard on Mount, but I'm really hoping to see more from him this season. Really, 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 for the amount we paid for him, really hoping to see more from him. So I'm not gonna be too critical on him. It's only the first game of the season. About 5 for Mount. Casemiro 6.5. Looked really good in that midfield. No complaints at all. Looked really good. Really hope. I know people are gonna criticize him on Instagram, on Twitter, wherever, but I was really impressed with him. Kobe Minor 6 as well. Like I said, with Martinez, Kobe Minor played the whole tournament. You know, came here full of life, full of energy. Came here fit. You know, I wasn't expecting him to even start, but look, he started. He held his own. No complaints. Rashford 4. Expecting more from a player of Rashford's quality. Expecting more after the poor season he had. I'm really expecting to see a step up. I'm really expecting him to pull up his socks. I'm trying to see a reaction from Rashford this season. But as for this game alone, 4 from Rashford. Bruno 6. In the first half, really quiet, really snuffed out. But in the second half, he really picked it up a bit more. It was a bit more efficient, a bit more effective with his passing. His passing was a bit more crisp. Obviously, with Bruno, it's a volume thing. Sometimes he's gonna make the pass, sometimes he won't. So, but nonetheless, I was impressed. He stepped it up a bit more in the second half. Garnacho 7, good goal, very very good goal, well timed, well finished, well hit. But goal aside, he looked lively. He looked lively. He looked energetic. He gave us something on that right hand side. He gave us energy. He was an outlet. For the counter attack. He was always an option to look forward to on the right hand side. Um, McTominay 5. Um, yeah, I guess you know what you're gonna get with McTominay. 5 for McTominay. I guess he ran around. He gave energy. Yeah, 5. Don't even have too much to say on McTominay. Um, Sancho wasn't in for too long, so standard 5 for Sancho. Ahmad 6. Really impressed with Ahmad. Was really really impressed with him. Like I said, he's a bright spark. Really really hoping to see him more this season. So therefore, a solid 6 for Ahmad. Collier 6 for Collier as well. Steady in the middle of the park. Very calm, very composed on the ball. Yes, look, he misplaced a few passes, but then again, he's young. He's gonna learn within time, with experience. He's gonna get better. And so really impressed with Collier. Who else was out there? Pelistri had a very very difficult game. He's not a right back, so I wasn't expecting any much, but he had a very very difficult game. So 4.5. He had a very difficult game, and he was partly at fault for the goal because he didn't track he didn't track Bernardo Silva well enough. But then again, he's not a right back, like I said, so that defensive awareness is not there naturally. But yeah, nonetheless, 4.5. Um, who else? I don't even know if I missed out anyone, but 5 for all those who came late in the game. Um, yeah, I can't remember if I missed anyone else, but yeah, nonetheless, it was obviously it's not nice losing, but nonetheless, there was a few positives to take. There was a few negatives. I think the biggest takeaway from this game is that we need new signings. We need recruitment ASAP. Delict and Mazraoui, we need you guys ASAP. We need reinforcement ASAP. I think it was clear to see. This game was a carbon copy of the FA Cup final. It was no different. But yeah, the biggest takeaway is that we need new signings. I'm not trying to see Maguire and Evans going to game week 10. I really am not trying to see that. No, I refuse to see that. I refuse to see that. So Mazraoui and Delete there near the ASAP. Looks like Wan Bissaka's on the verge of going. So we need a new right back ASAP. We need someone who can play both the right and the left side. Dallo can do that, but we need someone that can partner up with Dallo. Because Luke Shaw's injured. I don't know how long Luke Shaw's out for, but yeah, I'm not trying to see an Evans, Maguire, or Lindelof partnership going into game week 10, game week 15. I refuse to. I really refuse to. But nonetheless, disappointing to lose, but a lot of positives to take, a lot of things to look at as well. Looking forward to the game against Fulham. It's going to be very interesting to see how we regroup, how we set up against Fulham, who comes in, who doesn't come. It's going to be very interesting. I really hope that we get at least one of them Mazraoui or Delete before the game against Fulham. But nonetheless, it's going to be interesting to see how we set up against Fulham. But tough one to take, but we go again. As for everyone that's been watching this video, that's been supporting the channel, supporting the podcast on all different platforms, I really appreciate the support. We all appreciate the support. Thank you for the continual support, and we look forward to seeing you again in the game against Fulham.